to the channel. My name is James McCool. I'm the owner of PayDirtDFS.com, and this is going to be another edition of the MLB True Average Report. This is a piggyback video that I am utilizing for YouTube so that I can have a video version of the article that I post every single day over at PayDirtDFS.com. If you have not been checking out those articles, you should. They're free, and it's got a really powerful metric attached to it called MLB True Average, which aims to predict a pitcher's performance better than typical stats when it comes to allowing hits, and that's kind of where everything starts, so it's a pretty important stat. If you have been utilizing that report, then that's awesome. I hope that you're enjoying everything it has to offer, and I hope that it's gotten you to a subscription at the site as well. There is every single sport offered for projections and betting models that you can basically bet on or play, and it's only $30 a month. So if you have been utilizing PayDirtDFS.com, I appreciate that. If you haven't, you should go check it out. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this report is going to go over the best true average on the day, the worst true average on the day, and then some large deviations between the actual average allowed and the true average for pitchers. We use those deviations to try to find leverage on the field because it shows that regression is coming for those pitchers. And when people look at the surface stats, then they're not going to see that regression is coming. So we can utilize true average to get ahead of the curve on that. So let's go ahead and check in on the true average report. So this is going to be basically the same thing that you see over on the site, PayDirtDFS.com, in the true average report. You can see that the best true average on the day is going to be Jansen Junk. He has a true average of 173 and an actual average allowed of 221. It's a difference of about 37 points. So I did note that Jansen Junk does have a small sample size here. He does have only 2 games in the recent sample, but both games have been really promising. So I noted a couple things on his pitch mix usage over at the site, but he has had a very good increase in strikeout rate this year that I think is going to continue based on what we found. In terms of his matchup, he's got a matchup with the Athletics. The Athletics are a league average team, so this is a spot that he can win. I think that he's somebody who you should probably prioritize today in both DFS and the betting markets. If we look at the lowest true average, or the worst true average, the highest true average, we're looking at Miles Mikolas up against the Cubs. So Miles Mikolas, he's somebody who relies on a pitch contact method. He does not have a high strikeout rate, but he does have good control and he does have good command. The problem with that is that it's going to lead to a lot of balls in play, and that's going to lead to pretty large swings in the way that his BABIP comes out. So when you have somebody like him who is set for negative regression and is going up against a team that does like to put balls in play like the Cubs, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. Now, I don't think that Miles Mikolas is going to implode here. I think that the most likely outcome is something like 8 hits given up and 2 to 3 earned runs and no home runs. But that's still not a great stat line. So what we want to do is we want to avoid Miles Mikolas today. If you'd like a little bit more info on either one of those pitchers and the stats behind these choices, you can go check out the article on the site at PayDirtDFS.com. Now we're going to look at the largest deviations. So the largest deviation actually goes to Nick Pivetta. He has a positive 138 points between his true average of 233 and his actual average allowed of 371. He's been incredibly unlucky in the recent sample with a BABIP of over 400. And he now today faces the Royals. The Royals have looked like a league average team if you go and look at the stats, but they recently traded away a handful of their best players at the trade deadline, so they should be considered one of the worst teams in the league moving forward and through the end of the year. This is a matchup that Pivetta can obviously win, and we're hoping that people are going to be scared off of the recent sample on Pivetta and not realize that he actually has a bunch of positive regression coming. So he is the largest positive deviation that we want to leverage in GPPs. The largest negative deviation is a pretty low one with Chris Bubich, with a 68-point difference here between his 291 true average and his 223 actual average allowed. 68 points is not something that we think of as a significant deviation, but it is the largest negative deviation that we have on the slate. It's got a matchup with the Red Sox, who have been bad lately, but they're still league average when it comes to left-handed pitchers, and they do have quite a bit of power. So if you want to utilize the Red Sox in large field GPPs, I think that's a fantastic idea. And one way or another, you should be avoiding Chris Bubich. I think that he will actually be relatively popular today because of how bad the Red Sox have been. So, like I said, this is a piggyback video to a more detailed article that you can find over at patertfs.com that I post every single day. If you liked this video, give me a like on it and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be having this as well as some upcoming NFL videos as well. Going to be trying to ramp up the content here. So if you have not already checked out patertfs.com, you should. If you're not a subscriber over there, you should subscribe. There's going to be stats and really powerful metrics that you can utilize for every single sport. Regardless, thank you guys for tuning in to another video, and I will talk to you later.